Hello friends, welcome back to the Oreaganic podcast. I'm your host Reagan, and if this is your first time listening, welcome. Happy to have you here. I have had quite a week, my friends. Quite a week. And today's episode topic honestly surrounds like my recent experiences and what I've been going through. And I find that's kind of just how the podcast naturally goes, is I make episodes based on what I'm currently moving through, what's coming up for me, and how I think that my lessons can be best translated to, like the collective, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's coming up a lot lately, this sense of like overwhelm from overconsumption. We live in a society where overconsumption is just so normalized. It's so normalized. And this isn't the first time I'm talking about this, but I haven't had just a set conversation about this, so we need to chat. But think about how often we are just always consuming something, whether it be music or a podcast or background noise or a YouTube video, or I don't even know. It's like we just have 14 mental tabs open at all times, and that has become our new baseline. And because it's our new baseline, we don't really question it. But when you actually step outside of this new baseline and you realize what it feels like to not always be listening to something or hearing something or consuming something or absorbing something, you're like, holy shit, I can actually hear my thoughts again. I can hear myself think. My brain has time to like detox and decompress and understand what the fuck I'm even absorbing half the time. That's not to say like that listening to music all the time or podcasts or whatever, like this isn't like this is a deeply bad thing. I'm not saying that podcasts and music are bad and you need to be like David Goggins and stoic and never listen to anything in order to live like a self-actualized life. Like that's not true. That's not the case. As with everything, balance and doing things in moderation is what is the practice I recommend. And something I've definitely gotten better at over the years. Like when I think about even before like really getting kickstarted with the personal development journey, whatever you want to call it, when I really started getting into, like before I started getting into actually investing more time, money, energy into learning from people who were already where I want to be, I was already someone who was practicing gratitude and leaning more into the kind of like, I don't even want to say earthy crunch. It's not earthy crunchy, but I was just someone who tried to be more mindful of the ways that I was spending my time and my energy and trying to focus on a positive attitude. And one of the things that I noticed was my distraction and like social media and scrolling and whatever. Like I feel like all of us, everyone knows like I probably should scroll less. I want to scroll less. Like I don't want to be just consumed by my phone so much, or screenagers. Like we know this objectively, but it's so easy to just fall back into the same patterns of just picking up your phone and like doing it haphazardly, not even realizing how much time you're really giving to distractions. And I really want to emphasize that that's not something to like shame yourself for. That's not something to be critiquing yourself for. There's a process to this that I've gone through, and I'd like to share it with you guys today, and hopefully you guys can relate and understand. Also, side note, if you hear this weird popping noise, it's because I'm sitting on my couch recording this with my microphone. I think I need to upgrade my mic, honestly, in the next couple months, because this one is a little, she does the job, but it's not ideal. First episode you're hearing me on this microphone. In the past 2 episodes, though. I'm gonna freaking off myself. Anyways, okay. I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and let's get into it. Welcome to the Oreaganic podcast. I'm your host, Reagan, mechanical engineer, lifelong athlete, and recovered overachiever, here to empower you to pursue your highest potential and live freely as your happiest, most organic self. Every week, we'll dive into topics ranging from personal growth, mindset hacks, psychology, and a blend of science and spirituality to give you all the tools you need to stop living on autopilot and start creating a life of freedom, meaning, and fulfillment as your most organic self. If you're ready to become the best version of yourself, then let's plant those seeds and grow. Hello, my friends. This is going to be a completely unrelated side note for the next probably 2 minutes, so if you don't feel like listening to me talk about Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, please go ahead and hit the forward button like 8 times right now. Okay, anyone who has read Throne of Glass or is reading it, I'm currently doing the tandem read, so books what is it, 6 and 7. I'm doing Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn at the same time because I want to get them over with as much as I'm enjoying them, because I know that Kingdom of Ash is like the one to read, and I am just so excited to be reading it. But I bring this up because my intro for the podcast, like, I drop it in every time. It's the one that I recorded forever ago and I freaking launched the podcast. But since my podcast is called the Oreaganic Podcast, I just named it TOG Music Intro. So every time that I drop this thing in there, I'm just like, wow, Throne of Glass music intro. This is literally my podcast. So anyways, if you guys are book girlies out there, or if you're a man but reading it, you're still a book girly, so hit me up. I'd love to chat about it. So anyways, hopefully the people who skipped are back now. If not, that's unfortunate. But overconsumption of media. I'm just going to explain everything that I have gleaned from very intelligent people online who I follow, people who I admire in the space of like psychology and human understanding, and just the basic principles of understanding the back end systems as to why we scroll so much and why there is so much overconsumption and so much to always consume. And just give you guys my honest opinion, honest take. And I hope this is going to be relatable because, like I said, all of us know scrolling's not good. Wasting time on your phone's probably not the best for you. Like, you don't want to have hours and hours of screen time a day, and yet you still do it. Like, I'll still do it sometimes. And I'm like, bro, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I doing this? But to get into the deeper understanding of why this is happening, when we get into any pattern, whether or not it is, good or bad, serves us or doesn't serve us on an objective level, when we're in grooves of patterns in our head, it's because they're comfortable. And what is comfortable and familiar is what our brain deems as safe. And our brains are not made to keep us happy. They're made to keep us safe and alive. So when your brain associates something with safety and comfort, when your brain associates something with familiar comfort, it then associates that with safety, which then associates that with survival. So then when we try to stray from anything outside of this little loop of what's familiar is what's safe, our brain is like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? We're going to die. Like, that's literally what happens on a very, very high level, not formal scale. So when it comes to scrolling and breaking habits or just always needing something in your ears, it can be a really hard habit to break when you've gotten so used to this being your form of safety. I mean, think about why you scroll or when you scroll. Maybe not all the time, like maybe sometimes it's just a half a thought and you don't even think about it, but a lot of the times it's to avoid some form of discomfort. So can we just give ourselves a little bit more grace here for that? Like, can we give our human brains and our human selves, our minds, our feelings, like, more grace for the fact that, like, we're not broken for scrolling. We're not like these lazy pieces of shit who want to do nothing with our lives. Like, your brain is just looking for a source of comfort, and it's not necessarily our fault as a society that we're not given tools that are healthier to understand how to actually give your brain what it needs in order to feel safe, or to change your association of safety from being scrolling to being more like spending time with yourself. Or I don't want to say meditating because that sounds so like boho, even though I'm like, meditation is great, but I just feel like in this context it sounds so like meditation. Like, I'm not trying to be like that, but seriously, like, swapping scrolling for something that actually feels restful is more the goal. But most of us don't receive this education in school. Most of us are not told in high school, in college, whatever, oh, when you decide to scroll or when you're avoiding something or procrastinating, like, your brain is avoiding some sort of pain or discomfort, or like even the pain of boredom. So your brain has learned that, like, the best way to avoid this is to turn to what's comfortable and what will give you, the temporary dopamine hits, the temporary relief. And you will just keep turning to that, even though you might objectively know it's not what's good for you. This is like your subconscious wiring and like your brain being just programmed psychologically to like want and crave the distraction when you feel bored, when you feel uncomfortable, when there's silence, when you're out in public alone and you feel awkward just standing, waiting in line for something. Like, so many situations where this comes up. And yet it's not actually restful. Like I said, it gives us the quick relief, it gives you the quick, comfort, but on a long-term scale, no one feels good after sitting and scrolling for hours, or feeling like you can't even like pick your head up in public because you're just on your phone, or like you can't even have a conversation with another human being because like you can't withstand like moments of, you know what I'm trying to say, like no one feels good thinking back on those moments. And yet when you're in those moments where you want to just pick up your phone, pull it out of your pocket, open Instagram, you don't really remember that. You're not really thinking about that. You're just thinking of the feeling in the moment. And this is why having conversations about this is so important and so enlightening for our understanding. Like, I wasn't aware of a lot of the information that I'm saying right now until someone fucking said it, until I heard it, until I had the absolute privilege and blessing of being able to hear it. Because like I said, we're not taught these things. We are not explicitly given the correct, or not correct, but like, probably the best tools to understand what kind of forms of rest to give our brain that is not just, temporary scrolling and chasing dopamine highs. So where I really started turning away from the scrolling and making progress was, like I said, just awareness, just understanding of like, wow, maybe I don't need to like shame myself and think that I'm just a lazy POS because I scroll, or like my parents in high school saying like, oh, you're on your phone too much. Like, thinking back on it, I can say like I was on my phone so much because I felt so fucking numb to like the stress that I endured having such a packed schedule all the time. Like all the time. School sports band. Like I did not have much time for decompressing and relaxing. And, I wouldn't change anything looking back on it, in the sense that like everything happened for a reason. Everything happened as it was supposed to. And I learned a lot from it. I mean, it shaped me into the person that had all the experiences that made me who I am today, Like I wouldn't change anything, but looking back on it, I can understand that like, yeah, I was avoiding the feeling of just like, what the fuck am I doing? Or just the numbness. So I would just scroll. It would be my only sense of comfort. And what my body really wanted and was craving was any form of rest, like genuine freaking rest and a reprieve, like just time to fucking chill. But scrolling, even though we might think that just, when you get home from work and you can just open your phone and just start scrolling, like you might think that's restful, but compare it to an activity that genuinely nurtures your energy and brings your attention inwards. It's really not restful. I mean, especially today, especially on your algorithm, but I don't even care if you have the world's most wholesome algorithm. I swear to God, you're still going to see some shit you don't want to see when you're scrolling, because like not even just scrolling reels or like random videos, but just seeing what everyone else in your life, everyone else you're following is doing. Oh my God, you're absorbing so much. Your brain is seeing so much. Like, we are not biologically made to handle the capacity of not only input, but especially like caring deeply about the amount of media that we consume regarding other people. And like, I don't know. It's just very overwhelming for the nervous system, for the body and the brain to be scrolling. And I bring this back to the point of why it's not restful. Because like, yes, depending on what you see or the videos you watch or the humor, whatever, like, yes, it can be restful. And that's why I said, but too, it's not like this evil thing that you can never do. But to have awareness around when you're intentionally choosing to do it is what gives you the sense of empowerment that actually allows you to live a life of freedom that isn't just fueled by like temporary distraction and seeking comforts that don't actually serve you, such as the scrolling, the distraction, the reels, whatever, when what your body really needs is just like 10 minutes of silence, or just not to be consuming something or absorbing someone else's energy or watching someone's story or watching some piece of news from this random video. Like, I swear to God, we microdose like the horrors of the world on our stupid little fucking iPhones way more way more than our biological capacity was ever built to be able to, like, physiologically endure. And it's not normal. It's really not. Never mind the news. Never mind everything in the world right now. Just on a scale of consumption, our world is designed to, like, accommodate the consumers. Like, again, this is really not news here. I'm not creating some new realization, but again, just simple awareness of this is what brings you freedom and what has brought me freedom. So understanding that everything in the world is designed to get your attention and to keep it and to hold it, like, really wakens you up to, like, again, a reason why you shouldn't be so shameful towards yourself. If you are someone who does catch yourself being easily distracted or consuming all the time, like, that is literally how our world is designed, is to keep us consuming and to keep us distracted and to keep us looking at ads and giving our attention to things outside of ourselves. That's how our world is designed. And unfortunately, with how things work out, if someone does not explicitly tell you that, if you don't understand and, like, come to this awareness on your own terms or through someone else, making a podcast about it like I am right now, you can be stuck in this pattern of just consuming without even realizing it in every regard of life for way longer than what's probably ideal for you. I want to bring light to something I mentioned earlier when it comes to feeling shame and guilt around scrolling or overconsumption, and just the general awareness of, like, how much you might always be listening to something. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. I truly don't believe that you need to feel shame in order to change. I don't. I do think in life in general, there are circumstances in which shame can play a role to help a person get better, depending on whatever it is that's making them feel shameful, right? I mean, like I said, applying this to all of life in general. Take whatever circumstances come to mind when it comes to things that someone might benefit from feeling shameful about, right? Scrolling and shaming yourself for, like, procrastinating and being really, like, in the mode of overconsumption, I truly don't think is something that you're gonna change deeply if you shame yourself from doing it. And I bring this up because when I talk about the brain, when I talk about how scrolling is kind of a form of comfort and your brain seeking out its only form of safety that it can think of in the moment, I always do this. I, like, imagine the devil's advocate. I imagine someone arguing me and being like, well, just because, like, your brain is doing what is, I can't even speak. Just because your brain is doing what it deems to be safe doesn't mean that, like, you shouldn't be upset with yourself, or you shouldn't be, like, shameful of yourself, or, like, feel guilty or feel bad about it, because you can control that. Like, you're not the victim of your brain. And to that, I wish to say, that's true. Like, you're not the victim of your brain, but you cannot change something that you do not have awareness around in the first place. So where I don't want you to feel shame is for having a lack of awareness of why your brain is choosing to scroll or choosing to overconsume or choosing to, like, just distract itself, because that's not going to get you anywhere. That is not going to get you anywhere. And now that you have more knowledge, more of a perspective, a more empowered understanding of, like, the back end system of your brain and why you do scroll, I hope that you do feel a little more empowered to have an honest reflection with yourself and say, like, oh, wow, maybe I should be more kind to myself and understanding and try to approach my inner world, my inner psyche with a sense of unconditional love and understanding the experience of why I feel like I need to avoid this thing. Like, the cure to this, if there is one, so to say, I mean, it's a process over time. You're just learning how to be more present, to enjoy silence and whatnot. Like, I'm telling you, it honestly takes years. Like, I'm really not going to lie to you. It takes months to years. It doesn't take just, like, weeks. Change can happen in a short time, but still, long-term change like this, it takes a while. So when we're changing to less consumption and more of peace, the cure is truly found in actually sitting with whatever it is that you are craving to avoid. Which I know probably makes some part of you do a fucking somersault and scream and cry and throw up and never want to see the light of day ever again. because I feel the same. We all have avoidant tendencies for a reason. The whole point of scrolling is to avoid the boredom. The whole point of scrolling and distraction and overconsumption is to avoid the discomfort of actually sitting in the silence and having to listen to your own thoughts, or having to face the reality of the life that you currently experience and the life that you live in. That's a very scary thing. Like, that is a very, very scary thing for you, for your brain, like all levels of your existence. That is objectively scary. And yet, it is the thing that will create the most amount of freedom for yourself when you actually do it. Because avoidance is really it's just a facade. It's a facade. We come up with these stories in our head that make it seem like the thing that we are avoiding is so much worse than it actually is. And the more that you choose like the avoidance strategies, the always listening to music, to a podcast, to scrolling, to whatever, the more you're just gonna stay stuck, and the more you're gonna affirm to yourself on a subconscious level, like, oh, I can't handle this. Like, I can't handle the boredom. I can't handle the silence. Like, if I do, like, I can't do it. I can't. I'm not capable of handling that, which is a lie. Like, you are more than capable of facing whatever it may be that lies on the other side of like the fear fueling your avoidance. I promise you, you are way more capable than you think you are. There's no part of you that you like cannot face and come out like better, stronger, more loving towards yourself on the other side with the right support. I am not a professional. I am not an expert. I am not giving advice based on like expert level things. This is just my subjective opinion. All right. But I promise you, whatever it is that you may feel like you need to avoid, it does not have shit on you, my friend. It does not have shit on you. You are literally just creating a story in your head that you are keep affirming to yourself every time that you pick up your phone and you feel a little uncomfortable, or you plug in a podcast, or you listen to something new, or you do whatever when you don't feel like doing something, or when you feel like there's some sort of friction that makes you want to run in the opposite direction. Like, I'm telling you, you have the power to conquer that. You can change that. I know you can. So much more capable than you think you are. You really, really, really are. So, looping this back to scrolling and overconsumption. Overconsumption is kind of just a baseline of our society in terms of how it's structured and how it's built. Our challenge as freedom-seeking individuals who love ourselves enough to want to change and experience the best form of life that we can experience. The best form of life that we can experience. Whatever. As people who seek that for ourselves, who seek the best form of life for ourselves, our challenge is to first understand the landscape in which we live when it comes to the digital age and the fact that our world is based on catering towards consumption. Therefore, social media, the news, music, podcast, everything is designed to be catchy, to hook your attention, and to keep you watching, because if you keep watching, you keep listening, you keep always seeking something outside of you, you are going to be very easy to sell to, whether that is your time, your energy, your attention, or your money. And that is very beneficial for pretty much, companies, news, media, whoever, like think about every other system that benefits from that. So step 1, understand that that's the landscape in which we live. Step 2 is to understand that it's not necessarily your fault for not knowing that, because we are not taught this information. We're not. We should be on like a wider scale, but people are not talking about this en masse. Like, this is not common knowledge if you were to poll like everyone in the entire world. So don't be so harsh on yourself. Don't be, holding on to this shame and this, this internal criticism for why you scroll, or like, why can't I just sit in silence? Why can't I just not go on my phone? Don't hold on to that shame, because that is not going to actually allow you to become free and kind of metabolize the discomfort into actual change. So awareness, is number one. Number two is showing yourself compassion moving through this world in which we live that is so like designed for the overconsumption, and being kind to ourselves through this by understanding how our brains work and what what our brain is actually seeking to do when we turn to distractions. And then number three is giving ourselves the right and the empowerment to understand that we have so much more potential for change than we give ourselves credit for. And 3/4, because this is kind of together, but with that understanding that we have way more capacity for change comes the necessary step of being forced to face the exact thing the exact thing that we wish to avoid in doing whatever form of overconsumption you might think of. So a lot of the times we're avoiding feeling like shit. We're avoiding feeling uncertain about our lives or our circumstances, or shitty about how things are, or just the discomfort of boredom, or doing a task that literally makes you want to do anything else in the world. Like, we are avoiding some form of pain. And I know it seems ridiculous to think about our survival brains when it comes to pain being like having to send an email, but if that event is associated with like this negative feeling in your brain, like, your brain will try to avoid it as like almost a form of a survival mechanism. That's the world that we live in. That's the way that we've evolved. Are we hunting bears in the wild anymore? No, not really, not en masse, but this is how it looks for us. Our survival instincts don't go anywhere. They evolve as we do. And now that we have evolved to be in such a digital world full of industrialism and capitalism and overconsumerism, which is not all bad and evil. Like, not all of the root of this is like pure evil wanting to destroy and suck all of our energy and attention. Like, there's nuance to everything. So don't ever take me as someone who speaks in absolutes. Like, never. If there's one thing I will never do except for objective evil, it is like speak in absolutes. Anyways, now that we have evolved into this world, the best thing that we can do is adapt. And to adapt, we get freedom by understanding and giving attention to the things that we avoid. Because the more that you kind of build up this tolerance to a lack of avoidance, like, the more you realize, like, wow, there's really, like, I didn't need to be turning away from this so much. Like, I didn't need to be so scared of what it's like to actually sit in silence, or to just, like, enjoy the moment, soak up the presence of me just standing in line at this, wherever you may be, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, it starts with very small decisions when it comes to kind of turning the tide towards a life of more presence and less consumption. And it's so important. It's so important to make those small decisions. So I promise you guys that you are capable of doing this. And now I'm going to give you some of my best tips for things to do instead of scrolling, and the ways that I try to integrate silence, peace, mindfulness, and like genuine rest into my life. Okay, 10 things to do instead of scrolling. These are things that I actually did this tonight. I was about to just like sit down and go on my phone for a little bit, even though I don't have Instagram right now. Side note, I deleted Instagram impromptu like 3 days ago, and the silence and the peace that I have experienced, like, I have no desire to scroll. This isn't, look at me guys, case study. It's almost like that's the whole fucking point. But I didn't delete Instagram with the intention of being like, I'm gonna be off social media. Like, I just did it. I was like, I can't fucking open this app. Like, there's no point. There's no point to this fucking scrolling. I'm scrolling for no fucking reason at this point. And what I was trying to avoid so much, or even not even necessarily avoid, but it's more like I was getting in these old patterns I have of being in this fucking hyper productivity mode where I'm just like an electron just bouncing from thing to thing to thing. And I caught myself doing that with Instagram last week. So I was like, I'm done. We're not doing it anymore. And like I said before, guys, when you make small changes and these small shifts and like slightly different choices to not scroll or to just be present in small moments, like I'm literally talking like small moments, not like for like this grand gesture of I'm going to throw my phone in the ocean. Like, I'm talking literally, you're standing in line. You have the thought, I want to reach for my phone right now, you choose to say, I'm aware of this thought and I'm going to choose to stand here in presence. That is the exact example that I'm telling you to, like, that's what fuels the change, is just making that choice repeatedly when it comes up over and over again. Not having to be perfect, but just building up enough of a tolerance to it where you notice a genuine shift and change. Anyways, back to my point. With Instagram this week, like, I don't feel, after doing that, after making that decision, I don't feel this urge to scroll at all. I just feel the genuine benefit of actually feeling peaceful and rested in my own space, in my own energy, not consuming some other random shit online. So, perfect example of that. So back to my point of 10 things to do instead of scrolling. I did this tonight where I was going to sit down, scroll, just go on my phone. I don't even know what the fuck I was going to do, but just something on my phone. And instead of that, I was like, you know what? I am going to read a chapter or two of my book. I'm going to read my book. And that's exactly what I did. And I read way more than 2 chapters because I have a compulsive issue. But nonetheless, I chose to read my book instead of scrolling. So 10 things to do instead of scrolling. That's number 1. Read a book. If you are not someone who likes to read a lot, or like you're just not in a rhythm, may I humbly recommend to you that you not read like nonfiction, personal help, personal development kind of books. Because as amazing as they are, like, I would recommend Atomic Habits to someone any day. As incredible as these books are, they're not the kind of like pleasure reading that really gives you like a high return on investment when it comes to feeling like nourished by it. So I encourage you, particularly if you are a woman, to find more of like, I don't even know, like I really do enjoy like more of the fantasy romance, like nothing fucking crazy before anyone gets any ideas. Like, I'm in the middle of Throne of Glass right now, like I talked about at the beginning, like Sarah J. Maas books. I don't know, they really have gotten me back into reading almost. Like, I was reading Dune before I got like ACOTAR for the first time last year, like, or maybe it was even, I don't know when. I was reading Dune, which is still good, but like, I don't know, just long, whatever. Like, my recommendation is to get books that are genuinely just pleasurable to read, that have a good plot, that don't take up all of this mental space or like take a lot of energy for you to like dissect through everything, like almost like how it did with Dune for me. And just get something that you genuinely enjoy. So, number 1, read a book, because once you get back into reading, like, oh my God, it's so refreshing. It's so nice. Okay. Number 2 is to journal. This is another really big fundamental thing that I did starting out, really getting to foster a better connection with myself and a relationship and a deeper understanding of like the thought patterns and habits that run my life. Journaling has been a practice of mine for years though. Like, I didn't start consistently journaling until maybe 2.5 years ago, but before then I would even journal anytime that things just felt like it was a lot and my mind was just running. If you're someone like me who has a very active mind, I find that writing it all on paper, like anything that feels, even if it's just, it feels slightly present in the back of your head, like as soon as I put it on paper, as soon as I get it out of my head and just on a physical sheet of paper, I feel so much better. You genuinely process things, you process your thoughts and your emotions by effect of your thoughts through journaling. And when it comes to scrolling as a means of avoidance, like if you're avoiding a feeling of discomfort, a great way to actually give yourself the space to honor that and listen to it and not avoid it is to lean into it with curiosity and compassion and journal about it. Like, reflect on it, or just journal about how the fucking day went. Journal about how the blade of grass looks like weird outside. Like, I don't know, journal about literally anything. But that is another incredible practice that I highly recommend as a means of doing something other than scrolling and just to connect with yourself. Number 3, go for a walk outside. I don't care if it is for 30 seconds. You will get something out of it. You will get something out of it, especially on a nicer day. And if you've been inside for a while, like spending time outside in nature is so healing. Even if you live somewhere that's not super like, right next to a bunch of trees, or maybe you're in a city or something like that, there is still something to be said for getting out of your own door and just like looking at the scenery around you. Just observing, just noticing, and being present with the fact that you are existing alongside like all of these things, and just like you're just alive. Like you're just there. You're present. That's the whole fucking definition of being present. Explicitly for these walks though, do not bring your phone. Like taking a walk outside without your phone, oh, pure bliss. Pure bliss. You'll actually realize that, wow, I am a human being with a brain that has thoughts that I can actually listen to and give airtime to actually get cleared out from my psyche instead of just constantly ignoring them. And it's incredible. Number 4, go for a workout. Go to the gym, go on a walk, go for a run, go do a lift, do a fucking Pilates yoga session, do a 2-minute ab workout. I don't care what the fuck you do. But moving your body clears energy out from your system. I think the only reason that I stayed sane in the 13, 15 years of my life that I was like super, super dedicated to sports and like had a really busy schedule, maybe not 13 years of that, but let's say 8, high school and college. I think the only thing that really kept me sane during those years was the fact that like sports was a conduit for my emotions and my stresses and my worries to be channeled through and like transmuted and actually processed. And like that, it almost was like I was constantly like on overflow, and then sports balanced it out. And then I was very much so balanced from the sense of like sports being able to serve that for me. But you guys know, you will never regret working out. You will always regret not working out. And this does not have to mean a super intensive workout. Working out does not have to be the same exact thing every single day, no matter what. And that's the only definition of success when it comes to being active. Like, working out is whatever form of moving your body that feels best for you, that you feel good about, that feels supportive for your system that day. Especially if you're a woman, your body changes every week. That is not for the faint of heart. And it's also absolutely not a weakness. It is a strength to move through the cycles that we experience as women. And working with them is something that can give us a lot deeper of a sense of like nourishment and peace when it comes to the workouts that we choose. So don't put so much pressure on yourself for it to be like this 45-minute HIIT workout every day or like 5 times a week. Just moving your body in any form is going to give you so much energy back, and it's so good for you. Like, it's just so good for you. Okay, number 5. Call a friend or a family member. Call someone. Have some human interaction. Have a chat. Randomly FaceTime someone you haven't talked to in 4 years because you were like, hey, saw you in my contacts because I was just scrolling because I'm trying not to scroll. So I decided to scroll. What the fuck am I saying? So I decided to scroll my contacts and I saw your name and I just wanted to say, hi, how's it going? How's life? Call your mom. Call your grandma. Call your dad. Call your great aunt. Call your sisters, child's, cousins. I don't fucking know. Call someone in your family who you love very dearly, or you just haven't talked to in a while, an old friend, a best friend, and catch up with them. How much better would that feel compared to sitting on Instagram for 15 minutes and watching videos of things that no human being should ever have to endure or see? Never mind, just casually consume on a Tuesday night. How's that sound? What about human connection and love? Okay, moving on. Number 6, try cooking something new. I know this is cliche. I know it's cliche. Don't really give a shit because cooking, when you're present with it, is so much fun. Oh my God, it's so much fun, guys. Especially when it comes out well, obviously. Cooking can be like a really fun task. And it's also really good because you can't use your phone during it. You can't be scrolling on Instagram if you're trying to freaking knead up some pizza dough or make pasta from scratch. Like, if you're using both of your hands, like, those kinds of activities are the best when it comes to an alternative option to just scrolling. Because it's like, obviously you can't use your hands. Like, you are just fully present in the moment, and that is what we want. That is what we want. The presence whether it be just sitting with yourself or being fully present with the task that you're doing or the moment that you're living in, like that is what gives us the sense of rest and nourishment. And honestly, it's what makes us feel like the day is not flying by. Like it gives us back so much time and energy just by focusing fully 100% on what is happening right in front of you right now. And it's so nice. Okay, so that's number 5, I think. Yeah. Number 6, go to bed really early to get lots of sleep. How many of us have ever gotten in bed at like 10:30 and been like, oh my god, it's so early, this is so nice, I'm gonna sleep for 12 hours tonight, it's gonna be incredible, I'm gonna get 9 hours of sleep and it's gonna be amazing. And you're like, okay, since it's 10:30, like maybe I'll just open Instagram for a little bit. Then you open Instagram and then you scroll for 45 minutes and then all of a sudden it's 11:15 and you're like, oh fuck me, I still have to brush my teeth. Well, I do that before I get in bed, but you forget this other thing you need to do, or you need to get up and get more water, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's 11:42 p.m., you're like, what the fuck, I was in bed an hour ago, what am I doing with my life? And now you're getting way less sleep than you would have if you just went to bed. Perfect example. Just fucking go to bed. Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep, and imagine how good it's going to feel to get a shit ton of sleep that night, versus getting pointless dopamine randomly before you sleep from random videos on Instagram. Like it is not worth it. It's really not worth it. Okay. Number 7, shit, was I wrong? I think call a friend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know what the fuck voodoo I just did in my head when it comes to math, but anyways, now we're on to number 8, and go to bed with number 7. Yeah, okay, number 8. Sorry for that, guys. Lol. BTS. Paint or draw something. If you don't have a canvas, highly recommend the paint by numbers that you can buy. You can buy it on fucking Amazon right now. If you go do it right now. Go open Amazon and search up paint by number and look at how many options comes up for little beautiful tiny paintings that you can create just by filling in the numbers and coloring in the lines. They give you the paint, they give you the brushes, they give you the paper that shows you little numbers and where they are, on top of obviously the canvas with all the numbers. Like, guys, immaculate experience. The first thing I ever hung up in this apartment was a paint by numbers thing, because it is associated with me living here, and I'm so, just good memories associated with it. But paint by numbers is such a fun thing to do, and that's another example of something that you can't really be doing something else while you are painting. Like, it's so nice because you get to just be fully present and immersed in the moment, and you get to create something really pretty. I mean, that's why I also put drawing here, because I don't know, I'm not really someone who draws, but if that is more what floats your boat, then let that be what keeps your boat afloat, because no shame to that. But doing something creative like that and actually creating something is so much more fulfilling and so much more fun than scrolling, like, obviously. Okay, number 9, do a puzzle. I want you guys to know something about me. If you ever put me in front of a puzzle and I get started on it, I get to work on it, there are good odds that I will not stop until it's done. And I'm someone who does puzzles very quickly. Like, I have always been like that. I don't know, I just find the pieces very easily, and I just cook at puzzles. I'm looking at one right now, a national parks puzzle that my mom got me that I absolutely love. Puzzles are so much fun. It's like you forget how fun they are until you start to do them again. And it's like, wow, this is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. Why did I ever stop? And I just wanted to say that, because if you don't have a puzzle to go try right now or to go put together, I highly recommend buying one. I highly do. Because that activity and that little hobby is, again, as is the theme, so much more fun and fulfilling than scrolling. And number 10, which is not going to be that overwhelming for the fact that it's the last one, but I said bake cookies. I said bake cookies. And it's because I didn't want to say bake desserts, because I'm like, that just sounds boring. But seriously, go bake yourself a little sweet treat. Oh, my microphone's been facing the wrong way for like the past 5 minutes. Anyways, just go bake yourself a treat. Go get some cookies, get some cupcakes, get a little mix. Throw an egg in there, throw some butter, mix it up, put it on a pan, put it in the oven at 350. Wait 10 to 12 minutes. Boom. You're a fucking baker. I almost wanted to say chef, and then I wanted to say Chef Boyardee, and I was like, both of those are incorrect. So, anyways, think about how fun it is to bake, guys. Like, it's just so much fun. You can create that. You can do that right now. Do you see how all of these tasks, they're not tasks, all of these other alternatives are so much more fun, fulfilling, memorable than spending time on your phone, scrolling, distraction. And I'm laying this out like this, not because I think that it isn't obvious, because I know you guys obviously get what I'm saying, but because sometimes your brain really just needs to understand that and conceptualize that and be like, oh, yeah, next time I go to pick up my phone, maybe your brain will be like, wait, is there something better I could do with my time right now? Is there something else that I actually want to do with my time? Because I feel like I'm just picking up this phone because I'm just used to doing that, and I don't actually really want to do that right now. So what can I actually do that brings me more joy or fulfillment and feels way more fun? And just programming that awareness into your brain is honestly what will be a huge catalyst for change when it comes to this realm of embracing presence and escaping from the culture of overconsumption that we live in. So the goal I have for all of you guys is less scrolling, more living, and understanding how to actually like conquer the almost disease of overconsumption, specifically centered around scrolling. But this, like I said, can show up in many different forms of just like never being able to sit in silence in any form, or just like always needing to be doing something. Those are other forms of overconsumption and like avoidance strategies usually. So all of that applies under the umbrella that I've just really categorized as like the scrolling example. But my goal is really for all of you guys to have a greater sense of empowerment as to how you can actually overcome this and integrate sustainable change in your life to turn the tides more towards a present, positive life where you feel way more fulfilled and satisfied with how you spend your time from a place of love and compassion and a desire to want to live like your best, most ideal, happiest form of life, rather than a life of just like doing things because you don't even realize that you're doing them. You know, that's my goal for you guys. So longer episode, but I hope it helps today. I hope you guys really enjoyed the 10 things to do instead of scrolling, because I'm laughing because I feel like some of them were a little silly, but it's true. It's true. There's about a million things that you can do that are better ways to spend your time. And I hope that this episode gives you some inspiration. I would love to hear what you guys think, or if you guys, honestly, if you guys have ever just struggled with the scrolling and you just relate to this, like please reach out to me, because I would love to talk about this more. And I just really want you guys to know that like I have been there and I'm still there. I'm still going to be like, I'm not perfect by any means, but my life is significantly better now that I'm not so much like a screenager, and I am more so a present active engager with the life that I have been blessed with. You know, that's my goal for all of you. So yes, reach out to me on Instagram. Let me know what you guys think of the podcast. And thank you guys for being here. Love you guys. I will see you next week. Follow me on Instagram if you don't. It's Organic Reagan, spelled organic like normal, and then just my name, Reagan. Keep up with me there, because I do be yapping on stories, and I be posting as well. So after my little mini hiatus, whenever this ends, probably in the next like week, I don't even know, but I'll be on there. I'll be active, and yeah, I'm excited to keep creating for you guys. We are coming upon my favorite time of the year, this spring. I feel so much more alive, so much more like, oh my God, so much more alive in the spring, and I absolutely love it. So I'm very happy. The tides, everything is working out in my favor right now, and I'm just very, very happy, and I'm sending you guys all of my love and positivity and good vibes for a happier, healthier version of you in your life. Go be your most organic selves, and I will see you in the next one.